At 71 years old, with no underlying health conditions and no final words, Mr. Raymond quietly passed away this morning, his morning tea still slowly cooling down. Have you ever wondered what might take away someone you love without warning? This morning, the kitchen was unusually quiet. Mr. Raymond's wife called him to wake up as usual, but there was no answer. He was the kind of person who never complained, never sought attention. A lifelong mechanical engineer, he had a routine. Wake up at 6 a.m., do light exercises, drink tea, and have breakfast alone. Just last week, he mentioned feeling a little tired. His wife suggested a checkup, but he just laughed it off, saying, "Probably because I've been waking up too early." He was still moving around, still washing his own cup, still locking the door every night. But this morning, he didn't wake up. No strange sounds, no warning signs, just the things he left behind. A shopping list, a watch he'd set the night before, and 5 profound lessons from his passing. Many geriatric studies show that most people over 70 don't pass away from a major diagnosis, but from small, unnoticed daily habits that gradually wear the body down. In this video, we'll share 5 things that, if known earlier, could help you live longer and more meaningfully. These are the things most people over 70 aren't told. So if you're in your 60s, 65, or nearing 70, take these 5 lessons to heart, as if a loved one is sharing them with you. And if anything resonates, hold on to this video, or share it with someone you don't want to miss another morning with. Let's get started. The first lesson, don't snooze without a reason. Who doesn't love a little extra sleep in the morning? But if every day turns into just a little more sleep, you might be sacrificing something without realizing it. After 70, the body's biological rhythm becomes fragile, like an old clock that hasn't been wound in a while. Even small deviations, sleeping in too late, napping too much, can throw your body's system off balance. Trouble sleeping at night, daytime fatigue, poor memory, fluctuating blood pressure, mood swings. According to a Harvard University study, older adults who sleep more than 9 hours a day without a medical reason have a third and higher risk of dying compared to those who maintain a stable biological rhythm. The body doesn't just need sleep, it needs to sleep at the right time, wake up at the right time, and live with rhythm. Linda, 74, lives alone in Oregon. After her husband passed away, she had no reason to wake up early, no one to schedule with, no one to remind her. Gradually, she started sleeping in until 9 or 10 a.m., and napping in the afternoon. At first, she just felt a little tired. A few months later, she was forgetting to take her medicine, having trouble sleeping at night, and losing weight. Her doctor said, "You don't have a clear illness, but your body is slipping out of rhythm. Snoozing a few times isn't dangerous, but when you no longer find a reason to get up, that's a red flag." If you find yourself increasingly reluctant to leave your bed in the morning, not because you're tired, but because there's nothing to do, that's not rest. That's when your body starts losing its motivation to live. Waking up early isn't hard. You just need to set a fixed time each day. You could even set an alarm. Open the window and let the morning sun touch your face. Do something small. Water the plants, make tea, call someone. And if you can, have someone call you, not to rush you, but to remind you, "I'm still here today." But if every day starts like this, in bed, with yellow lights and closed curtains, ask yourself, does your body still recognize what's around you? Just like plants need sunlight, your body needs it too. Don't let the day pass without feeling the sun. The second lesson, don't spend a day without stepping outside. Have you ever spent a whole day without stepping outside? The windows stay closed, the curtains stay drawn. Whether it's sunny or rainy, it doesn't matter. You move back and forth between the living room and bedroom. No sunlight, no wind, no real sense of morning. Many people think staying at home is better for their health, but the older we get, the less we go outside and the more our bodies lose their natural rhythms. Morning sunlight isn't just about warmth. It helps awaken hormones, balances your biological clock, supports calcium absorption, creates vitamin D, and keeps your brain and heart functioning properly. A study from the University of Tokyo found that people over 70 who get less than 15 minutes of sunlight each morning are 3 times more likely to suffer from depression. So make a habit of stepping outside, even if it's just for a few minutes. Let the sun touch your skin. It's a small change that could have a huge impact on your mood, energy, and overall health. Another problem that can lead to insomnia, weak bones, and a noticeable decline in immunity is something many of us overlook: missing the morning sunlight every day. Mr. Charles, 76, lives in a quiet suburb of California. He used to enjoy spending his mornings in the garden, pruning trees, watering flowers, and sipping coffee in the sun. But since the pandemic, he's barely stepped outside. The door stays shut, and the only light in his house comes from the yellow kitchen lamp. Days pass quietly behind thick curtains with no breeze, no sunlight. Just a few months later, he started experiencing chronic insomnia, low appetite, a down mood, and confusion. After a general checkup, the doctor told him, "There's nothing physically wrong, but you're lacking sunlight, movement, and the biological cues your body needs to stay in rhythm with the day." The problem wasn't an illness, it was living too long in a day without real light. But there's good news. A small change can help reset your body's natural rhythm. Step outside for just 10 to 15 minutes each morning. Sit still, breathe, let the sunlight touch your face. No need to do anything else. If you can't go outside, simply open the curtains and let the light in. And don't forget, the morning sun doesn't just warm your skin, it also warms your heart. Because someone who still feels the sun is someone who still keeps the rhythm of life. Here's another surprising habit. Wearing the same outfit for several days can actually make your body begin to withdraw from the rhythm of life. This can be an early sign of depression, gradually wearing you down without you even noticing it. Have you noticed you're wearing the same shirt for the third day? It's not dirty, not wrinkled, no one's paying attention. "I'm just staying home, no need to change clothes." It makes sense, right? But in reality, your body and your mind understand it much differently. Every time you wear the same outfit, you're telling yourself, today is no different than yesterday. And with each passing day, you begin to blend into a faded rhythm of life, so subtle you can't even see it. That old shirt, still neatly folded on the chair, makes today feel like just a blurry copy of yesterday. And slowly, day by day, you start to disappear from yourself, without anyone noticing, especially after 70, when someone who once cared about their appearance, knew their colors, and enjoyed looking in the mirror, now doesn't care about their clothes, can't even remember what they wore yesterday. It's no longer convenience. It's the first sign of letting go. A study from the Canadian Institute of Geriatric Psychiatry found that older adults who wear the same outfit repeatedly for several days are twice as likely to experience depression and cognitive decline. And the worst part, it doesn't shout out like insomnia or forgetfulness. No one notices. Mrs. Maria, 73, used to love wearing light-colored dresses. But after her husband passed away, she started wearing the same outfit every day at home. At first, it was just convenient. Then it became, why bother changing? One day, her daughter visited and noticed that her mother hadn't changed clothes in a whole week. Maria no longer went outside, no longer looked in the mirror, and mostly just moved between the bed and kitchen. That's when her family realized she was withdrawing from life without anyone knowing. You don't need to dress up, but you can start by changing into a different shirt each day. That simple act says, I'm still here, I still want tomorrow. Because if you can't tell today from yesterday, how can your body believe there's something new to look forward to tomorrow? If any of this resonates with you, leave a comment saying, I understand. It doesn't need to be a long explanation. Sometimes a quiet whisper like that is all someone needs to hear. And if you find yourself slipping into this taking it easy routine, there's one more gentle alarm. Don't let the house get too quiet, because when it does, your brain will start to shut down before your heart does. There are houses that seem perfectly normal from the outside, but inside, there's only the sound of a spinning fan, the scrape of slippers, and silent spaces with no name. No sounds from the kitchen, no radio, no one calling out to anyone. Just days passing with no one asking anything of each other. It may seem peaceful, but for older adults, prolonged silence isn't relaxation. It's a sign that the brain is starting to withdraw from the world. The less sound around, the less stimulation for the brain. The less interaction, the more the emotional system contracts. And eventually, the body starts to believe, no one needs me anymore. A study from Johns Hopkins University found that older adults living in environments with no conversations, no music, no laughter, are twice as likely to experience depression and 60% more likely to experience memory loss. Mr. Bill, 78 years old, used to be a cheerful man. Since his wife passed away, he's been living alone. He still turns on the TV every morning, still calls his children once a week, but then he started turning off the TV. It's too noisy. Skipping calls, I'll call tomorrow. Gradually, the only sounds left were the scraping of his chair, opening the fridge, and the wind howling outside. One day, his son came to visit and found him sitting quietly, responding slowly, asking the same question over and over. There was nothing urgent, but clearly, something had turned off without anyone noticing. Did you know? There are people who go silent for an entire week, and no one notices until they stop responding altogether. Not all departures make noise. Sometimes it's just a soft tune, a sudden doorbell, a gentle question. Have you eaten yet? That's enough to remind your body, I'm still here, still alive, surrounded by the world's signals. If your house feels too quiet today, don't wait until the only sound left is the sound of an ambulance. Turn on some music. Call someone, not to make noise, but to live. And here's another thing that's so familiar. No one really notices it anymore. It's not because you're busy, and it's not because you've forgotten. But these days, you just don't feel like you need breakfast anymore. No one dies from skipping breakfast for a day, but many people begin to slowly fade away without even realizing it. Because the morning is the body's first signal to say, I still need to start the day. And when you don't eat, not because you're too busy, but because you don't feel the need, it's not laziness. That's when the survival hormones stop being released, the hunger signal fades, and your body quietly starts to believe, maybe I don't need to begin today. According to research from the Tokyo Institute of Nutrition, older adults who skip breakfast regularly have a 21% higher risk of death. The risk of dementia, muscle loss, and low blood pressure also increases significantly, just because the body no longer receives its life command every morning. Mrs. Nancy, 75, from Colorado, never skipped breakfast. But after living alone, she began feeling like there was no need to cook. A cup of weak tea. The morning passed by, then a week, then a month. Her body slowed down, weight loss, a hunched back, shaky hands when holding a glass of water. Forgetfulness, sitting quietly for hours staring out the window without knowing why. Her loved ones thought it was just old age, but the doctor said, she's not sick. She's just lacking life energy from all those mornings when no one asked her what she was having for breakfast. You don't need a fancy spread, just something simple. A few slices of bread, a glass of milk, a bowl of porridge, some soft fruit, and most importantly, someone asking you every morning, what's for breakfast today? Breakfast isn't just to fill your stomach. It's the body asking itself, do I still want to live today? If you haven't eaten anything today, not because you're busy, but because you don't feel the need, go back to the kitchen. Do the simplest thing, prepare yourself a day to live. Old age doesn't have an alarm bell. It comes like a dimming light, quietly without hurry, and no one knows exactly when it will go out. But Raymond, the man who left this world quietly, left us with 5 things that seem small, but if known earlier, could have kept him with us for one more morning. If you notice yourself starting to become like Raymond, sleeping later, eating less, avoiding changing clothes, not going outside to catch the sun, don't ignore it, because it's those little things repeated every day that make many people leave without a final word. Start changing, starting tomorrow. Wake up early, turn on some music, make tea, wear a different shirt than yesterday, and if you can, call someone you don't want to lose another morning with. If this video made you think a little deeper, send it to someone you love, because sometimes the right video at the right time can save a life. And if you want more gentle, deep reminders, follow the channel. We'll always be here whenever you need a voice to remind you to live mindfully and fully. Thank you for staying until the end. I hope tomorrow you'll wake up a little earlier. So, here we are. and choose to live more fully today.